All right. I always try to bring it home. Black families, black families as a collective, right? And not all, but as a collective, already have lower average savings. Um, the home ownership rates are lower. And I'm not talking about interest rates, I'm talking about the actual assets, actual people who own homes. Black families already have less access to emergency capital. There's already higher rent to income ratios. In the city of Miami, I think people are paying about $3,000 for a 3 bedroom now, 2 or 3 bedroom. That low income that was in, Opalock and Liberty City and Overtown, if you even wanted to live in those areas, gone. Higher family responsibility loads. Black families have less generational financial backup. So when repayments come back hard, this isn't an inconvenience. This is displacement pressure. This is foreclosure pressure, right? For the ones who was even able to own homes, this is default pressure, and I'm saying this slow because I really want y'all to get this. This is life rerouting pressure. You have plans to do this, but now you got to do this. You thought that life is going to go this way, but it's going that way. Because student debt just doesn't affect your budget. It affects whether you're going to get approved for an apartment. Remember, they got to do a credit check. Whether you can qualify for a mortgage. Yeah, you may be a high earner, right? You may be one of the people that's a high earner, but if you owe or you have to pay a certain amount of money every month to a student loan, then you get approved for less. And last time I checked, homes are not becoming cheaper, they're actually becoming more expensive. Whether your interest rate is decent, whether you qualify for a mortgage and the interest rate is decent or the insurance premium rises, whether you can finance a car, whether you can open a business, whether you can scale that business, whether you can be able to get borrowing power to be able to actually say, this is a business that's going to be able to grow for me, whether you even have extra money to invest. The stuff I talk about all the time, the key ingredient to what I talk about all the time. Student debt quietly blocks way every doorway to wealth. And people wonder why the middle class feel like it's disappearing. It's not a feeling. It's not a feeling, right? So let me bring it back to, let me bring it back to the black ladies. Let me bring it back to the sisters, right? Let's talk about where a lot of the black women actually work, right? Black women are overrepresented in teaching. How many people in your family, in your life, are teachers? They're overrepresented in nursing. How many of your friends, sister, cousins, people that you know that's a nurse, overrepresented in social work? Am I talking to y'all? Or y'all not hearing me? Or y'all friends and families just doctors and lawyers, right? Overrepresented in counseling, um, government job, bus driver, work some kind of county job, right? Am I tripping here? Right? Um, how about the nonprofit service? What about that? Right? You see you see your sister, your aunt, your mom in that in public health, right? We always want to help. Black women always want to be able to give back, help. So all careers that require degrees, all careers that pay below the level required to comfortably repay back large student loan debt. So think about the cruelty of their system. You borrow $80,000 to become a teacher, graduate, get hired. They make $48,000 a year, maybe bring home $3,000 a month, 1,500 every 2 weeks. After taxes, now stack your bills, rent, car, insurance, daycare, helping mom out, doing it all on your own. Food. Let's not talk about food. Let's stack all of these things on top of each other. You're still paying gas to get back and forth to work. You're still paying utilities. You're still getting your hair and nails done, right? And then add in 700 to $1,100 in student loan repayment back to that a month. You become broke with the degree. Am I talking about y'all? Am I am I in your living room? Am I in your house right now? Are you hearing me? This doesn't happen because you failed. It's because the numbers were never meant to work in your favor. You know. Now let's talk about who actually benefited from the system. Y'all ready to go there? And this is where I come in and I'm like, you can't just feel sorry for yourself, but you got to be able to take action. Universities benefited, right? Loan servicers benefited. Can we invest in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac? Can we invest in the companies that you have to get student loans through? Can you? Hmm? Patreon. Wall Street benefited. Federal interest programs benefited. All of these people benefited. Your debt was bundled like a phone and internet together in a play, right? It was literally bundled together. It was packaged. And what happens when you get played? What happens when your life, your debt, your life is packaged, bundled, traded, and then sold for pennies on the dollar to the next company that's going to come after you with vigor? Your future income becomes someone else's financial product. That's not a conspiracy. If y'all know me by now, I don't talk in conspiracies. I'm giving y'all facts. Okay? That's what you call structure. All right? That's how you build a system. Now, let's take a quick moment, right quick, and let's address this forgiveness. I hate that word. Conversation honestly. Some people say, hey, you signed up for it, you pay for it. Okay, okay. Let's think about it like that for a minute. You signed up for it, you pay for it. Then, if that's the case, keep that same corporate energy for corporations. Keep it for the banks. All right? Keep that same energy, bruh. Keep that same energy for the airlines, the cruise lines. Keep that same energy for these hedge funds. Hmm. If you think that just because you signed up for it, an 18-year-old signed up for it, so they just pay for it, and that's the mindset. Keep the same energy for the banks, the airlines, the hedge funds, for the financial institution that got bailed out with taxpayer money back in 2008. because forgiveness in America has always existed. It just rarely flowed down to you, the everyday American. Now, let me be clear so nobody misrepresents this. Blanket forgiveness alone does not fix the student loan crisis, right? If they was to be able to just take a system and say we wipe out all balances today, right? Tuition remains unregulated, right? Parents who actually told us, hey, you go to school and do the right thing, college don't cost, what it used to cost back in the days, right? Interest rate still remains predatory. Degrees still remains overpriced. Those things don't go away. Labor markets still remain unequal. I mean, did I say anything that magically wipe away all of those things? The interest rates, the degrees, the labor markets. You just reload the same trap and package that job for your kids and your grandkids and your great grandkids, right? Maybe you don't care because it ain't you. But what I'm saying is forgiveness without structural reform is a reset button for the same machine. The real fixes are not popular in Washington. Restore bankruptcy protection. Whatever happened to things like that? Aggressive, aggressively cap interest rates. How many people have been paying on student loans for since they was 22 years old, and now you're 42, and you owe about the same amount, if not more, to than you did when you graduated back in what year are we in? Back in 2005. You know, tie tuition to income outcomes, right? You went to school to be a teacher. Instead of charge you $80,000, let's charge you $40,000, and maybe the student loan debt could be wiped out in a year, or 10 years, or 15 years. Who knows? But for the rest of your life, right? Prohibit high debt programs with low wage pay placement. Force full financial disclosure before teens sign contracts. Teens expand non-college paths to income. But none of these reforms benefit loan servicers. None of them benefit massive universities. None of them benefit the Wall Street debt traders. So they move slowly, right? Very, very slow because they can, because it benefit them. Now, let's talk about the emotional side that never makes the policy report. Okay, American dream, the white picket fence, the apple pie in the windowsill, the little boy and girl, the dog running around the backyard. That's hard to have when you think about what student loan delays. Who want to get married with all that debt? Who want to have children? Who want to own a house? And who want to? How can you invest? How can you acquire land? How can you really talk about a wealth transfer?